Hey tubers, Bart coming at you. Been a hot minute for a video, and not shooting from the most fantastic location in the house, but life circumstances change sometimes. So I was lucky enough when we got into this house. We live on a military base, and all the kids, I got 3 boys, they all wanted to be in the same room. And so me and the wife, and she does a little work for home, got our own office, our own space or whatever. Sweet. Well, you know, the boys got a little bit older, and the competitiveness and the fights ensued, and it just got be a little bit too much, especially when I was traveling for work a little bit more, and wife had enough. So I had to give up my upstairs space that was amongst all the other bedrooms, to separate the oldest boy from the twins. And so here I am in my new man space. It is an unfinished basement, and since it's a base house, there will be no improvements that I'll be able to do. The best thing we did so far was we already had it up here. It's like a cloth wall in between just the beams, so no actual safety from footballs or the Nerf wars that happen on the other side of this wall or anything like that. So can't really put display cases on. Probably hang a picture or two, but the displays and everything for the next year until we move to the next spot are going to be left wanting. I'll try to get a stand and make this at least a better angle, but this is what I got for now, and I am so far behind on sharing mail days, and I got some bangers. I got some fantastic things to show off, and whenever I get the time, because a bunch of travel, a bunch of vacation time, and visiting family last weekend as well. I haven't had a weekend for a while to, dedicate to selfish reasons of hobby and stuff like that. So once I get to that space, then maybe. But when I get to that time and space, I will need to sort some cards and put them away. And the pile for still haven't been on video yet is quite large. So we'll get right into it. I think this is the only raw. There might be another one shoved in the pile somewhere, because I've just been stacking them up. Got a Young Guns, John Carlson, likely Hall of Famer for us at some point. Been playing forever, and still contributes a lot of points from the back line. So pretty cool there. Haven't found a PSA 10 that I've been looking for, so I took a shot on a random Young Guns that wasn't overly expensive, but some white showing on the corners that was a little hard to tell from the listing itself. I knew that risk, so not upset or anything like that, but still cool to have the raw one for now. I was chipping away at the Baseball Hall of Fame PC, and so there's your Luis Aparicio. Struggling with that one. PSA 6 from 56. Good looking card, well centered. These are those ones I love to pick up and chip away at the set, but since I'm in no rush, I can wait until I get the good deals. And I found that one at a great price. I got lucky at this one too. Like I said, there's some really good cards in this stack. I've been picking up some good stuff. 62 tops, Fran Tarkenton in a 6, no doubt, and great auction win. I guess the one good thing about the breadth of collecting that I do, I get to be patient, because there's just, the list just goes on and on. So I'm never forced to pay for something because this is the one that's available right now. And so the seller doesn't have anything on me. I can just keep it moving because there's 1,000 other cards that still got to get after. And so I just, a lot of these auction wins, I've been losing them for years before I come up with a win. I've bid on this one a good number of times over the years, but not consistently. But it was at the right time. There were not a lot of auctions I was going after, so I went for this one, had a couple bucks burning a hole in my pocket, and bam, got the 62 tops in a 6. So real happy with the grade, the presentation, all of that. Mike Gardner, Hall of Famer for the Cavs. PSA 9 from AD Peachy. Was hoping to find that in a newer label, but very clean, older label. Early enough where it wasn't that phase where it was bubbling and stuff like that. A good number of your ones that start with a 2, they have the ripple in the label. This didn't have none of that, so price ended up being right, and I went for it. This one, I'm not a big fan when they put a big old label on there, so then I can't use the bag that you sent me in. But this is NFL's 75th anniversary set pickup. Billy White Shoes Johnson. Second time in the PC. I had one of these 6 years ago. I had a buddy, we were kind of competing with each other in the best of way on registry sets and stuff like that. And this wasn't as high a priority for me at the time, but when it popped up, I knew it was, especially it was lower pop, much lower pop back then. I knew he was looking for it, so I picked it up before he got to it. And then in my excitement, I told him, hey, I got this. Well, I ended up trading this for a LaDainian Tomlinson 01 Chrome Refractor PSA 9, which was a massive trade in my favor at the time. But he had an extra, and he was definitely looking for this card. So that worked out. I ended up selling it, you know, a couple years ago during the boom and everything, and happy to add that one back. Chipping away. These aren't cheap, but they are definitely, thankfully, coming down quite a bit. Especially when you wouldn't think that his Contenders Optic base is a non-auto card by any means, but it is. So it doesn't get quite the popularity, but it's still, I promise you, more expensive than you would expect for this card. But I've been chipping away at his base rookie set. Doubt I'll ever complete it because there's a couple of crazy hard ones. Obviously, you got to get the Contenders, which is the auto. But there's also a flawless patch out of 20. It's non-auto, but it's a flawless patch out of 20. You know, good luck getting one of those, let alone slabbed up and all the things. But we got them for a good number of years and stuff like that. So those are the types of sets I do like to do, especially when they don't have rookie sets that are crazy large. This one's only 19, which is pretty good for a quarterback. You know, I think Kittle's is only like, let's say Kittle's rookie set is only like 8 cards. Fred Warner's like 11. Maybe I flip-flop those two, but it's not a lot. I think Fred Warner has more, so he's probably the 11. But that's a pretty good, you know, those are good sets. You know, we'll never attempt Nick Bosa's, because since he's a number 3 pick overall, he had, you know, his rookie base set is 41 cards or something like that. So hard pass. But if they've got sets that are somewhat achievable and workable and not too big, I go after it. Upgrade. Got the 57 Ray Berry and a PSA 6. First ballot Hall of Famer. I had a 4, and you know, it was a nice example. I still have it. I gotta sell it. I gotta send it to consignment or whatever. But since I have been putting the proper investment into some of the cards, makes sense that I keep the quality up. If I had lower end ones in there before, and so points and things matter in that little registry, I am a fan of that piece of it too. So upgraded there from a 4 to a 6. Got the Night Train Lane and a nice 7. Old label there. That one does have a little bit of the ripple, but not too bad. But I'm not the biggest fan of those, but it was a good looking card. Well centered for what 57s often are. Baseball Hall of Famer. We got Jim Cat from 1960 tops in a PSA 6. Nothing cosmic there, but a good looking card. mostly centered for your post-war rookie set. He's in a good number of sets here. 72 Topps John Riggins, PSA 8. This one I probably was thinking of is that I kind of pursued it the most, or would have put it higher on the list than some of the other sets I was going for, was the 100 touchdown set. I kind of had been looking through my sets to see which one I had been sleeping on. 100 touchdowns. It seemed like I should have had more of the cards than I did. I just felt like I was sandbagging on that, and I like to check those things out, and because I kind of like for the PC to, you know, a high tide raises all ships, and I try to collect in that way. So I want all the ships to raise up together, as opposed to you know, a ship being a different lane of the PC, sport, whatever, as opposed to just focusing on one. And getting it up to some level that's, you know, because you're never going to achieve where you're trying to go anyway. It's the journey. So I just don't want to go so deep with one that I just leave other sports behind. So got to check myself, and I go through my old sets and say, all right, what have I been sandbagging? What set haven't I contributed or built upon lately? And a 100 touchdown set was one of them. So you'll see a couple in here on that. Back to that baseball, the Dave Parker. A simple 7, you know, maybe in a couple years when the newness of his Hall of Fame status, popularity goes back down. And we kind of knew this guy was getting in, but I try not to prospect even in that level too much if I didn't see him play. I'll prospect nowadays if it's somebody I'm witnessing, and then I feel a little closer to whether they're getting in. I feel better about it, and it bumps it up on the priority. But I don't prospect some of these older guys until they make it. But that costs me, you know, because their popularity goes up, so does their price point. A 2.0 multiplier on that Hall of Fame set, which is kind of rare for some of those 70s cards. So he's got most of them are just 1.0, so that was helpful. Keep those points going a little bit, and a good looking card from 74 there, Dave Parker. Here's another raw in here. I started to realize I had a small sub PC within the Nationals PC of Bowman's Best Atomic Refractor rookie cards, and so I got the Mackenzie Gore. I forget what his record is now. It's not above 500, but that's because we're not a very good team right now. But we're showing a lot more promise than I thought we would this year. I thought we'd be one more year away from what we're doing. We're a couple games below 500, but we're not abysmal. But he's led, or basically had the tie for the league lead in strikeouts so far this year, throughout the year, because he had 13 on opening day. And so he's kept pace with that a little bit here and there, you know, 6 or 7 a game at least normally. And so that's been going well. So he's kind of the one guy newly added to the somewhat worthy of collecting on the team there for the Nats. Hockey pickup for the kind of the all-time Nationals PC there. Rod Langway from 80 O-Pee-Chee. Was a Canadiens rookie, so not in a Caps uniform there. That's why it took me a little bit longer than some of the other ones. Obviously, I front-loaded anybody that was actually a Caps rookie, as opposed to a all-time Caps great that was a rookie somewhere else. PSA 9 for that. Added the Raleigh fingers back to the PC. The 69 Topps, got that in a simple PSA 7. I like the design of this card and everything like that. The color of that C and the way it looks like it's a marker or something has always bothered me significantly about this card, because it looks like somebody, it's every one of them, just looks like somebody scribbled in with a pen or something on that picture. Back to that 100 touchdown set that I talked about, got the Chris Carter PSA 10. Those are pretty reasonable. Target of opportunity pickup, I don't really look to add much Steve Young to the PC anymore, just because I've got a lot of good ones, and I don't have a specified need to continue to add. But I'm a sucker for a couple of different certain cards. Trophy collection's one of them. 90s artist proofs. the gold medallions from Ultra. Those types of cards always get my attention. I was watching this when it got listed, but I was like, you know, whatever. I don't need it. I remember the pose. It's kind of always just a funny classic one. You know, if you're a Niners fan, you'd seen it before. And then when it was about a day left, and I was just like, I don't know. And it was one of those ones where it was like a decently high, but not crazy high or anything, opening bid requirement card. And nobody had bid yet. And I went, I had the extra moment, and I was like, all right, let's see what this pop is, just before I just blow it off completely, or if I think I want to bid. And did the pop. It was pop 1, PSA tunnel artist proof. I was like, crap, I gotta get this. So I threw in that bid and picked it up, and because nobody else outbid me at the last minute or anything. So happy to add that one. That's pretty cool. Roll. I've had this a couple times. I probably have a couple of these already still in the PC, but didn't have any in good condition. Wanted at least one nice Rod Woodson in the 49ers in the PC. I don't know if I'll ever find myself submitting cards like these again at $20 price points, but it'll sit in that pile for a couple years. Pretty good looking card there. That's from 98, Topps Chrome. Measures of Greatness refractor there. Upgrade, I think I had an 8. This is just a Roger Craig, basic Topps PSA set. I had to sub one of these myself like 6 years ago, because not a whole lot of people are submitting Roger Craig cards from the Minnesota Vikings. I've started piecing out his Masters Top set and selling 3, 4, 5 cards at a time. Nothing more on consignment when I do submit, but I want to keep the basic set. Especially, he should get the Hall of Fame at some point. I guess that, you know, the raw numbers aren't super high, but if you look at the body of work, look what he represented. You know, the 1,000 year of 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing. You know, long before people were doing that type of stuff. And, you know, he was a fullback for a while, so he kind of played a little bit different. It wasn't just the bell cow, but then he did that, and he had a 1,500-yard season in there, 3 Super Bowls, scored a good number of touchdowns in the Super Bowls that he played in, including 3 in one of them. You know, the accolades are pretty well there. You know, he never deserved to be first ballot by any means, but vote him in. Let's go. Patience on this one. I've had different versions, the gold, the opening day, which is white, and I'd seen 1 or 2 of these pop up, but initially when they first started and they were real low pop, they wanted like $80 for a Ryan Zimmerman PSA 10 with the All-Star Cup. I wasn't willing to bite that bullet at that point, and then eventually people keep grading them or whatever, the pop goes down, the price goes down. Finally got one that was pretty easy, as I wanted that one. I picked up another one as well, 4 Sharp Corners pickup here for the pretty cheap Scott Rowland, the Topps rookie cup there. All-Star rookie, PSA 10 from 98. Sleeper one here, shout out to Scotty. I had this one, moved on from it. I got a bunch of the raw ones, but I just didn't think they would grade that well. Plus the price point on this, there's no reason in grading it yourself. Currently 100 touchdown guy, right? And that is you can't take that away. That's like hitting 500 homers in baseball or something. That's always going to be, you know, an upper echelon milestone. So happy to add that. Here's a monster. I can't believe this one's 19 minutes into the video. This completed my first ballot Hall of Fame rookie card set for football. I'm at 100% there. I still got some ones I want to upgrade, but first time ever in the PC. Bart Starr PSA 6. Once upon a time when I thought I'd get one of these, it'd only be like a 4. And then I talked myself into, maybe I should go for a 5, get a nicer one, plus I'll get some more points for the registry. And then if you look at the price differential between what a 5 is and what a 6 is, a 6 you can get a much higher quality card for what's incrementally not much different compared to the difference between grades at other price points and things like that. So I talked myself into the 6 after a while. So real excited about that. I'm hitting 20 minutes, so I need to speed up here. Sergei Gonchar, another all-time Capitals there. One I watched and went and watched to a lot of games. So real excited about that. Got an auction win, or no, this was a bin, and I was like, it might be a smidge high, but I'll take it because the previous bins that I saw were just way too much. And then auction came out right after this, and I was like, oh crap, this guy, the new one, the next one's going to undercut what I just paid for it significantly, but last minute it spiked, went over, doubled, and paid it cost a little bit more than what I got for this one, so the bin was for the win. El Cheapo logo card, you know, I think I got it for less than $10 when it would cost me 20, and it's in my grading pile. I have a raw one of these in the grading pile. PSA 7, I will take it from 82 Fleer Team Action. That's a sticker. And last but not least, Maurice Rocket Richard, Montreal Canadiens from 55 Parkhurst. I got this one because it says Rocket Richard. Not going to get his rookie card anytime soon. I don't collect hockey quite in that manner, and that is a very significant card because it's a very significant player. Hit all the early milestones for goals and speed to certain goal milestones and things like that. One of the early GOATs for hockey, and so it's like, all right, well, I want something of his vintage in the PC. What is it going to be? When I went looking, Rocket Richard, on the label, that was the one. Great pose, everything else. So then it was just how do I get it, how do I find it at the right price? The bins were always through the roof. Auction at PSA 3 ended up being about half of what I almost bought PSA 2s for at bin, so very happy about that. That is if you complain about that mail day, you're in the wrong hobby, because that was phenomenal, and some monsters mixed in there. That's a good 2 months worth of cards at least, and some big boys that you only get on an annual basis type of thing, especially that Bard Star. So real excited to share that with you. I will do my best to do better here. I gotta square it away. I think I'm doing a video podcast with some guys. I haven't done one before with them on Friday. And I'm doing an interview, I think, with PSA Magazine on some Jerry Rice stuff coming up soon too. So that's kind of exciting. And so this room is not a reflection of, where I feel like I'm in the hobby or something like that. So I gotta get that squared away. But thanks for spending some time with me. Until next time, later.